What's up, Marvelites, and welcome to a brand new episode of the MCUExchange podcast. This is episode 49. Yay! One more to the big 50. Woohoo! My name is Aaron. I'll be your host, and alongside me are my co-hosts Joe.
Hello.
Hey, and Charles.
What's up?
It's actually a week. It's a break. It's like a week-long break for MCU content because it's like a primer for the next MCU series, which is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Wow,
Yeah.
it's really funny because right off the bat, after a day after WandaVision ended, several promo spots and posters have been unveiled in Marvel Studios for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's like signaling that okay, this is the next show. Here we go, and let's get right to it. Right over to the first reactions for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier because some of the press, I believe, had access for the first episode only the first episode for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I believe it's 47 minutes long. Correct me if I'm not 47 minutes. And here are some of the reactions. I'm not gonna mention the names. Just gonna have like a general overview of the reactions from the press on social media because the embargo was lifted. So they're describing the first episode or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a whole as very cool, and the rap piece a surprise appearance. Who's that? I don't know. And also, Yahoo Entertainment assured Marvel fans that the series would help with WandaVision withdrawal. Interesting. And also, some of the reactions are they're describing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier as somber, dramatic, good mix of fights and story. Those are the keywords. And also, they also praise the cast, which is Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, are really good in very different ways because the core of the show is the dynamic of those two characters. It's going to be interesting to find out how it will pan out in the next 6 weeks because it consists of 6 episodes. So those are maybe the noteworthy reactions for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Guys, what do you think about that? Are you hype up for that? For this upcoming Marvel series, Charles?
Yeah, I mean the reactions are very encouraging. I mean, I think for something like this, as long as you deliver on the action, people are going to be on board. But I think what really drew my attention with all of these reactions was people saying that this first episode had very deep and surprisingly somber character moments, and I think we see glimpses of that in some of the trailers where Sam is looking at the shield and whatnot. But knowing that we're gonna get that right away in this first episode makes me super fucking excited. I can't wait who the surprise character is because I heard it's pretty cool.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Joe, how about you? What can you say about what can you say about all of these positive reactions for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier first episode?
It's exciting. I think that Falcon the Winter Soldier is definitely going to be a very different experience from WandaVision, and I also am happy to see kind of positivity being carried over from one series to the next, especially given how some of the reactions towards the finale haven't been, the most positive for a lot of people's experiences. But it's just so weird to think that this show originally was going to air back in August. So about 5-6 months later, we're about to see it finally. I can't wait. The teasers are looking great, and I think it's great to see that it's positive. And I also want to know who that. I haven't heard it, so I'm really excited to see who the secret character or whatever it's going to be is, and what the show has in store for us with a very different dynamic of 6 episodes rather than the 9 from last time.
Yeah, same. And it's very intriguing because it hasn't leaked yet, that surprise appearance, and pretty interesting because in WandaVision in the past, I believe the press was given first 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
And then here in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Marvel Studios gave the press only 1 episode, which is understandable because only 6 episodes, and the length is like twice the first episode of WandaVision because 47 minutes. I believe it's the actual length of that episode. It's going to be exciting to find out. And we're going back to the MCU roots of action-packed adventures. Yay! That's exciting. Let's move on to another Disney Plus series who just ended last week, which is WandaVision. It's been the talk of the town in the past week. And, of course, the cast and crew can finally breathe that they can now tell the fans some spoilers of what really happened down the line behind the scenes. And one of the most noteworthy things that came out from all of those interviews, from all of those sit downs, is that the WandaVision finale is there was a lot that was changed in that episode because WandaVision creator Jack Schaefer discussed that the finale was the thing that was rewritten the most times. And she said that it was the hardest to find and craft and bring home. That's one of the quotes there. In a separate interview, Schaefer noted that the COVID-19 caused delay is it had a major impact in the overall creation of that finale because health protocols and stuff like that, lockdowns and everything, and also there are so many things that didn't pan out. So, Joe, what do you think? What do you think about this? The pandemic's now affecting not just production-wise, but also affecting the in-universe elements of the Marvel Studios projects.
I mean, if you think about it, this is sadly the real world consequence, and I think a lot of people believe that the pandemic, yeah, it was last year, but now that things are releasing now, they'll be fine. But it kind of highlights that it's not really over. We're still in the middle of it, and it still affects productions in different ways. What to some degree, it makes me sad that they didn't postpone the release of WandaVision. I would have been perfectly fine if they said, okay, this needs to come out later. I think the reason that WandaVision came out first is that Falcon the Winter Soldier had a lot more exterior shots, so they were kind of more dependent on getting shots in actual locations, which had a lot more restrictions how they can film. I think there was a mention that Disney Plus was the one that said they really need to start getting the show out. To some degree, it's fascinating because Mandalorian, there was an entire year of no new content between seasons. Now all of a sudden, it's an extremely time-sensitive thing. The scenes they described, I wish we saw, because if there is any real gripe I had was just that the finale seemed rushed, and a lot of the side characters and side stories didn't get fleshed out. And I'm really curious if this is going to be a big lesson that Marvel Studios carries over. And I really hope that we don't see similar effects with other shows, which probably to some degree, I think used or needed the time more to get it just right. So they kind of had to say, okay, which show will benefit from being released a little early and being a little choppy. And I guess that just ended up being WandaVision, sadly.
Yeah. And also, before I go to Charles, just want to point out another quote from the WandaVision creators and directors, because they addressed the absence of Doctor Strange, because fans are expecting that Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange will show up at some point, maybe at least for a brief moment to connect to the Multiverse of Madness, but it didn't happen. But an interesting quote here from Jack Schaefer again. He said that it's one of those things. That's how the cookie crumbled. That's what she said in the interview. So Charles, what do you think? Do you think that if Doctor Strange showed up, do you think the finale would have been better or not?
I mean, it certainly would change the ending that a lot of people don't like. The fact that Wanda gets away without anyone sort of telling her what she did was wrong. I mean, people tell her that she's wrong, but she just kind of like brushes it off and just fucking fucks off. So
Yeah.
I think if Doctor Strange was there, it would certainly. I like to think that he would maybe give Wanda a sermon about how to properly use your magic safely. Maybe there's a way for you to, have your fake world, fake Westview without harming anyone else. And I think that I don't know. It's unfortunate that the cookie crumbled the way it did and not the way we wanted it to. But I guess that's the reality of things. I'm curious how much of the pandemic has hurt Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well, because they were in the middle of it when things got shut down. But from the looks of it, it looks like it still looks pretty fucking kick ass. So who knows what's gonna happen with Falcon?
Yeah, and these two shows, WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, are the only Disney Plus shows who are in the middle of production that was shut down, right? I believe. And also from the film side, it's Shang-Chi and Eternals, of course. And it's gonna be interesting because when the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was shut down, they were at the tail end of production. which is supposedly the finale as well. So maybe it's going to be affected as well. Who knows? But we're going to find out in 6 weeks. That's the fun part. The wait
Yeah.
again. Yeah. Now let's move on to another, a different Marvel project in the form of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We're gonna talk about Ant-Man now. Yay!
Woo!
Talk about two things because the working title has been rumored to be revealed because according to the Dis Insider's Derek Cornell, the working title for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is Goat Rodeo. So Goat Rodeo is it's a holds a clever double meaning that references the past of the Ant-Man franchise, but also teasing what's to come in the sequel because it hints at a chaotic disaster. That's the term. So
Oh.
yeah, that's the meaning of that. Joe, based on that working title, what are your expectations for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Do you think that it will change the landscape of the MCU, or do you think that it will be confined in that one place? In the you know
I mean, we're talking about the quantum, the whole quantum plot that was set up in the last two episodes, the last two films. To some degree, I do think that we're going to see some bigger impacts. I wonder if it may also connect in some way or form to the multiversal plot line that's being teased. I love the title. It's such a perfect thing. It's just things going wrong. It sounds like the perfect kind of story for Scott. Um, I'm curious. I still personally really, really hope that the last Ant-Man and the Wasp film turns into a kaiju film. That would be so much fun.
hmm,
But it's going to be interesting. The Quantum Mania thing caught me on by surprise. To some degree, that I thought maybe they were just going to have that as a side plot, but I think they're going all in. So we could see, the civilization that kind of got scrapped that lives there, the explanation how Michelle Pfeiffer's rendition of Van Dyne survived all that time. I'm curious. I'm really, really curious which direction they're going. And everything going wrong just sounds like the perfect disaster, a perfect recipe of disaster to have some fun in the cinemas again.
yeah, definitely. Scott Lang will be in trouble again. Charles, how about you? What are your expectations for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania after hearing this working title?
Mm, well, certainly a lot of chaos for sure. Some fucking hijinks, shenanigans. Um, I don't know exactly how Michael Pena is gonna fit in, but I hope he's part of the shenanigans or the chaotic stuff that they're gonna be are they're gonna do. I hope. Like I like to imagine that Michael Pena may get a suit in the show and maybe finally get some a bit of actual adventuring on his own.
Yeah,
Maybe they find a way to make him like some sort of a sidekick superhero where he's like a total moron, but still the same guy, but with the pin particles. Sounds like a very stupid fun idea. But I think my general expectation for this is that it's gonna be a fun movie, regardless of
Yeah.
yeah,
how fucking well written it is. I think both Ant-Man films really managed to capture the heart of, I guess, Paul Rudd's comedy. Very
yeah,
wholesome, very laugh out loud, and very, I don't know. The Ant-Man films being so wholesome is what makes it so good to me. It's like a very nice breather from all the crazy, serious Marvel stuff. So I hope Quantumania continues that. But then again, with someone like Kang, I don't know how you're gonna make it super fun and lighthearted when you have one of the most dangerous Avengers villains ever. Maybe they find a way to make it fun with that. I hope so.
yeah. It's going to be interesting because Ant-Man versus Kang the Conqueror. You kidding me? It's going to be a sight to see inside the quantum realm. It's going to be epic in so many ways. And carrying over from this news, because we now believe that the release date for Ant-Man and the Wasp has surfaced online. It's now rumored to up rumored to premiere on February 16, 2023. That's only a rumor, but it's from from a film website, and Murphy's Multiverse has found it. It's Cines Argentinos. Let's go with Something, Nothing, and Everything. Joe, do you think Something, Nothing, and Everything, February 16, 2023, for Ant-Man 3?
I think it's something. To some degree, these websites they work closely with the how everything comes together. They get the information, and it kind of fits the timeline that was presented at the big Disney Investors Day. So I think there's a lot of credibility to it. The thing is that I will also say that it could change at any time because we still, as I mentioned previously, we still have the pandemic going around until that subsides. If production gets hit, if cinemas don't open and they decide last minute to postpone Black Widow after all, it can all change again. So I think for now that is definitely what they're going for, but I wouldn't put my entire lifeline on that being a definite release date as things have been developing.
Yeah, it's more like a target date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charles, how about you? Something, nothing, or everything. February 2023, potentially for Ant-Man 3.
I think it's something for sure. Like Joe said, these things are it's done in coordination with the studio. Obviously, someone had fucked up and managed to leak that out there. But I just like that it's only like 2 years away.
Yeah.
I think that alone. I mean, a year fucking passes so fast now that we're just fucking staying at home, and I don't know. It makes me excited that I don't have to wait so long to see Kang the Conqueror. I mean, we know he might appear in Loki, but his actual debut in a movie not that far off. It makes me, very, very excited that it's pretty soon.
Yeah. And can't wait for that to find out because considering right now, we still don't know if Black Widow is actually going to release this May because even though Disney confirmed it, yes, Disney confirmed it in the investors call or something last week, but given the current situation, the COVID-19 cases rising, it's really hard to tell, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, movie theaters shutting down, stuff like that.
May
Anyway,
will be the big test. I'll say that. The next few months.
yeah, definitely. And vaccines are being rolled out worldwide, but it's still a gradual change. It's not an instant one. It's going to be pretty tough to find out in the next few weeks. It's almost 2 months. Wow. And now let's move on to the exchange part of our segment. Just going to talk about the upcoming Falcon, the Falcon, the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. Gonna run down everything. Gonna talk about our expectations, our theories. Oh no, here we go again, guys. Fan theories. Oh no, do you expect to see Mephisto again? I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
Twitter will blow up once again in the next few weeks. So I just want to ask you general expectations. General. Just what are your expectations for this? After, of course, I've asked you earlier about that, but as a whole, what do you want to see for each character, for Sam and Bucky, for Sam specifically? What do you want to see for him here in the series? Charles, you first.
For Sam, well, I definitely want to see him wrestle with the legacy for sure. That's obviously such a big part of his character and his journey as Captain America. From the reactions, kind of seems like we're gonna get that particular moment. But for Bucky, specifically, I want to see some flashbacks to World War II stuff for Bucky.
Yeah.
Maybe missions he did without Cap. In the comics, he was kind of like an assassin for Cap's team. He'd go on missions alone and infiltrate big bases just to fucking take out the enemy silently. I hope they show some of that. For Zemo, I want to see some Sokovia flashbacks for Zemo.
Yeah.
Sokovia seems like a very hot topic right now, especially with WandaVision. And I think it would be cool to see Marvel maybe cash in on that and maybe give us some more of Zemo's backstory as a Sokovian soldier and even just a Sokovian citizen. I want to see what the whole Ultron thing looked like. I want to see like the aftermath of the Ultron fight and everything. I think that would be really, really fucking cool if they did that for Zemo.
For Sharon. You have anything for Sharon? Sharon
For
Carter?
Sharon, because it kind of seems like in the trailer and in the posters, it kind of seems like she's bad here. Like she's at least
really?
up against it's like she's up against Bucky and Sam here. She's like a vigilante of some sort. I want to know what exactly happened there and how she got there. Why did she maybe go against the law really really bad because some of the promo art like literally like branded her as a fucking wanted criminal. So I want to know why they did that, and I want to know if it has something to do with you know maybe she has a different idea of Captain America's legacy that she wants to do on her own. I wonder if it's
Mm.
gonna tie to that. I hope they address that.
Yeah. And for me personally, I want to see before I go to Joe. I'm gonna share mine first.
Yeah.
I want to find out. It's been confirmed that Sam's backstory will be revealed here.
Yeah.
His entire family, his family life. Like I want to see that. Like, oh, what was it? What was his life like before Captain America and Black Widow barged in his house in
Oh
2014?
yeah,
Captain
yeah.
America: The Winter Soldier. It's going to be interesting. It's just Sam is an interesting character, and he is going to he's primed to lead the next chapter of the MCU because of his title as Captain America, and I want to know how his past life is because we've learned that with Tony Stark, with Steve Rogers, with Thor, and Infinity Saga, and Sam and Bucky will both be the new leaders of the Avengers or the MCU as a whole because I want to find out how their dynamic will evolve throughout the 6 episodes because in the promos, in the interviews, they've been described as only co-workers and not friends, right?
Yeah.
And I can't wait to find out how will that evolve and how will that transform. And there's an emotional pull to it because they're bounded by one guy, which is Steve Rogers, and I want to see their life after that. I want to see a narrative centered on like I wonder if we will see a scene like they would just share stories of Steve Rogers. Like, "Oh, you know what, Steve, me and Steve did this. Me and Steve
I ho-
said, yeah,
I
right.
hope they do that. Yeah, sounds fun.
Mm.
Like it adds to both of their characters, but while also adding to the legacy of Steve Rogers as a whole
Mm-hmm.
from that conversation alone. We can't wait, and it's going to be interesting to find out how that will be
Just-
played out.
I'm just I'm just
Go.
imagining these two grown men starting to discuss, well, I and Steve got a few drinks while you were being a murder machine, and then
Yeah.
Bucky, I was there when he shaved for the first time. Just two adults fighting who's the better best friend of him.
because yeah, because right now I'm just realizing right now Sam is like he was with Steve in the modern age, while
Yeah.
Bucky saw Steve grew up. Like they're best friends ever since
Yeah.
like New York. Like, there are two sides of the story, and clashing it together. Like going to talk about that. You get to see a different side of Steve through Sam and Bucky in this show.
I
After
feel
all,
like
yeah,
I
go.
feel like Sam would be able to say, Bucky would be able to say, well, Steve got to tell me about his first boner when he was fucking 12,
Oh no, Ralph
I
Boner.
told you this first, Playboy.
right? That's like Sam's gonna
Oh
fucking
wait,
lose no matter what.
Yeah. And also on top of the family life and Steve Rogers, I just want to share like their bond between military service because Falcon, like Sam, has experience with military stuff, and well,
Yeah.
and Bucky as well, and then gonna bond over that, that gonna share strategies and stuff like that. And I can't wait to find out how they plan missions, like with both of them. It's going to be interesting to find out because without
Mhm.
Steve, Steve is the only one leading them to missions, and now they're going. Now the both of them will have the chance to lead their own mission. It's going to be interesting to find out in the next 6 episodes of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Joe, how about you? What are your expectations for these characters?
Um, I think almost everything has been said pretty much. So for Sam, I agree with. I kind of want to see his normal life because he was a character that was very. He kind of got thrust into it. I would love to get some
Yeah,
flashbacks to his time of becoming the Falcon, like that. We got teased that he lost his wingman.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
show us like what did that mean? Who was that person? Give us some more details on him, on his past. How did that Falcon unit? How is he the only one who still is around for that unit?
Yeah.
Because it has to be others, Which, man, that would be a cool twist. If all of a sudden he has to fight a whole bunch of Falcon knockoffs with like a similar tech.
Yeah.
Uh, with Bucky, So the thing is, what I'm really curious about Bucky is which angle they're going to take, because we had the fish out of water storyline with Captain America, but Bucky, he lived in the modern age, yes, but he was pretty much a frozen icicle for a while.
Mhm.
He lived
Yeah.
in Wakanda for a while. So what is modern America to him? How does that impact him? How does he go around with that? How does he handle that in his everyday life? And I would love to see him, like we saw in that like teaser where he's like, I wrote the book when it released, which was such a great line.
Hobbit.
But
Yeah.
it so good. But it makes me think like, okay, where's his place in all this? And I think that's going to be his big arc throughout the story. Is like, what place does a man who used to kill people like the Winter Soldier in that persona? Because that's what caught me off guard, is that the show is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, the Winter Soldier was his name as a killing machine. Will he try to use that and twist it into something positive? Now, I think that's just something really interesting to play with. Zemo, Daniel Brühl, German representative, great actor. He was amazing in Rush. He was amazing in Captain America: Civil War. Cannot wait to see more of him. Please, oh please, do not kill him off, show.
Yeah.
just please do not. I really want to see him. I feel like his time in Sokovia, I agree with Charles, is that it would be so great to explore that time. Explore his, he had a commanding unit, which kind of sets up a really cool way of him being a leader of a Thunderbolts team.
Yeah.
There's a lot they can do, and I'm really, really excited to see where they go with him. And I really hope that the theory turns out to be true, is that his purple mask is to mock the Avengers for failing.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Thanos.
I hope that's true too. Yeah.
It's such a simple but cool concept, and it gives that mask a new meaning besides he just wore it and it got melted to his face.
Yeah.
And it fits the character.
Mm.
Though I also, will it be melted to his face?
Maybe they fucking scar his face.
That would be a pretty cool, like, retroactive adding that in.
Yeah.
Sharon Carter, I'll be honest, I don't have much for that character. I really am curious about what they're going to do with her moving forward. I've even seen people say, hey, why not, turn Sharon Carter into Bobby Mars and just make her the new Mockingbird in the MCU.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting approach. I think it, Bobby Morris we already had her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which kind of WandaVision has de facto said is not canon. It would be an interesting approach, but if that happens or not, I want to see what is Sharon Carter's big story arc throughout this, especially because she's still on the run. Like, she helped them out in Civil War and has been on the run ever since, but wasn't with the team when in Infinity War. Like, what happened to her? What did she go through? Why is she doing this? I'm curious. I can't wait to see where this goes. And it's going to be exciting. I think it's just as exciting as WandaVision, and it's in a very different way because it feels. I love WandaVision, but I'll say this feels a bit more like back to a Marvel series or Marvel storytelling. So it's just kind of exciting to see that again after all this time.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I want to know is, will Sharon find out what Steve did at the end of Endgame?
Oh yeah.
Go back in time.
I mean, that has to be addressed, even if it's
Yeah.
funny. It's like
Yeah.
a fucking serious thing you gotta address.
He kissed me only to go back to my great grand.
Family. Oh my
It's
god.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Is we have now uncovered Steve is from the south of America. Getting there, he's a redneck.
He's a red pig, yeah.
On top of that, I also want to find out if Steve's plan of going back in time, stuff like that, spending time with Peggy, is going to be addressed here. Like, did Bucky knew what was happening, or and the aftermath of that, like the aftermath of the end game scene. Just want to find out how that, find out.
It opens up the questions. Like, the one big thing we still don't know is old man Steve from the main timeline, or did he just travel back to this timeline?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I think that the series might give us a little hint at that. I could imagine if he is from that timeline, that during the funeral or something where like everything calmed down, they talk a little bit, because I just can't imagine that Steve would not talk to Bucky one last time or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. It's gonna be like an emotional. I wonder if we're gonna see a flashback to that. Some without Chris Evans, that's gonna
So
be
you
tricky.
gave him the shield.
Why him? Well, Steve said he's a good man.
I'm not a good man. I may have killed people, but I was under mind control.
Yeah. So Sam and Bucky's journey, heroic journey for the Falcon the Winter Soldier, will evolve in surprising ways in the weeks to come. And before we wrap up, just want to ask, with all these theories and cameos and stuff like that, we all know War Machine will show up. It's been confirmed.
Yeah.
Other characters such as Sam's family will also show up. Sharon Carter, Zemo. On the top of your mind, guys, which other MCU character do you want to show up? Just like wishful thinking, no spoilers. Wishful thinking. I want this character to show up. Maybe one or two. Who do you think? Who want to start, Charles?
Maybe Abomination in human form.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tim Roth. Yeah, doesn't have to be Hulk out. Just even if he just shows up, I'd be super fucking happy.
Wow, it's going to be a big tie to Incredible Hulk franchise. Yeah. Joe, how about you?
I'd say I want to see General Ross.
Damn, that's my pick. Okay, cool.
Charles stole mine.
It's a cycle. I'll think of another. Go talk about it first.
No, but I would love to see. I just really want to know if they're doing a Thunderbolts project. It's just been rumored for so long. There's so many setups there. I feel like they're not announcing everything until it happens within these series or shows. So I think General Ross or Secretary Ross or whatever his role is technically, we still don't know where his place is in this timeline. I really want to know what happened to him and how his stance on heroics in some way will shape the future of the MCU.
Yeah. Well, I have an interesting pick, guys. I want Shuri to show up.
Ooh.
Because of the vibranium arm connection.
Yeah.
It's been mentioned several times in the promos, and I wonder if that's a hint. It's a hint that like a Wakandan tech, Wakanda will be featured in some form. I don't know, maybe because Shuri gave the new arm of Bucky, and I think that he wants to know more about it. Maybe, I don't know. Just right now.
Please tell me they're turning him into Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Go, Rocket Punch.
Because I believe there's one interview back then, way before all of this pandemic thing, that Sebastian Stan teased that his new arm will include some other upgrades, like technological upgrades. And I wonder how will that be showcased in this show. And I wonder if, like, maybe Shuri will show up in a hologram or something, or maybe like a tease, not like the aerospace engineer tease, not like that, but, an actual appearance from Letitia Wright, only for a brief cameo or a post-credit scene at least. Who knows?
Yeah.
So those are our picks. Listeners, how about you guys? Which MCU character do you want to show up in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Which other MCU character, aside from the cast and the known, cameos? Please do tweet us over twitter.com/MCUExchange. You can also follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/MCUExchange. You can also go to our Spotify channels, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker. That's MCUExchange Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy the upcoming week of new MCU content in the form of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Please do follow me on Twitter if you want to talk to me about it. That's twitter.com/AaronChino. That's AaronChino. You can also follow Charles on Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter at CFS
You can also follow Joe on Twitter.
I'm at that Abel, ThatAberl.
Brand new week, brand new Marvel content. Hope everything's going well, guys. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Till then.